It's a pretty bold move for a new brand to enter the e-skate scene with a premium board, more so a premium shortboard, and that's exactly what the Basecamp has done with the Basecamp Ghost. Basecamp just barely started making electric skateboards in 2023, and they are launching the Basecamp Ghost for 2024, which is a $1,599 electric shortboard. The pre-order price is $1,299, but that still makes it amongst the most premium electric shortboards in the market. And that's a big price tag, so we are expecting premium parts through and through here. Speaking of parts, let's get into the specs. Starting off with the deck, we have a sleek 31.1-inch carbon fiber deck with a unibody design and no bulging electronic enclosures. Now, this is T700 3K carbon fiber, which is the same material as the deck of the Meepo Hurricane, and unlike many carbon fiber decks that are made to be completely flat, the Ghost has a pretty nice concave to it. The Basecamp Ghost also has a tiny kicktail on it, and this means two things. One, that it's more decorative than useful, and two, while the total length of the deck is 31.1 inches, which is the size of a mini board, the wheelbase and the stance on the board are actually very wide, much like a cruiser board such as the Tiny Stinger and Meepo Flow. This means it's a lot more stable than a typical mini board without increasing the footprint and without sacrificing portability. Portability is also a unique strength of this board. The carbon fiber material allows the deck to be lighter, and the whole board comes together at a carry-friendly 19 pounds or 8.6 kilograms. Moving on to the trucks, we have a high-precision CNC truck, which is precision engraved from 7075 aluminum alloy, so this should perform really well and be a lot more durable than regular cast trucks. Next, the wheels are 90mm 75 APU wheels. Although it's marketed as the most comfortable wheels out there, using the late Boosted's Hemotox formula, they're pretty regular to us. For the battery, Basecamp went with a 12S 2P Molicel P42A 373 watt-hour. On one hand, this is pretty underwhelming for any board over $700, but on the other hand, a bigger battery will reduce the portability, which is one of the unique upsides Ghost has going for itself. At the very least, it's using the best cell possible with Molicel P42A. The Ghost is marketed at a range of 25 miles or 40 kilometers. In our tests, we managed to reach 19 miles or 30 kilometers with a 154-pound or 70-kilogram rider, riding fast modes 3 and 4, which is still a healthy range. Moving on to the XESC, Basecamp decided to design their own for the Ghost. Initially, we were wary of the claim, as there had been many small brands that launched boards with quote-unquote customized XESC, but in truth were just using a version of Lingy XESC. This is not the case for Ghost though. What's in the Ghost felt to us like a VESC. Like many VESC now, it supports smart turn-on features where the board automatically powers on when powering on the remote. It also came with 4 speed modes. So we reached out to Basecamp, and they told us that it is an XESC, and claims it to be different and better than VESC. While we don't care to compare the two, this Basecamp XESC does allow for the same customization ability as a VESC. It allows for customization of almost everything, including swapping out motors, batteries, etc. And you can change the settings straight from the remote. Very convenient. I think this is where Ghost tries to set itself apart and try to be as custom-friendly as possible, catering to the DIY crowd. Caution though, the advanced customization with the Pro settings will void the 1-year warranty, so play around at your own risk. The remote is very nice too. It's very ergonomic and comfortable to hold. The throttle dial has a lot of travel, which always translates to more precise control. Last but not least is the motors. The Basecamp Ghost uses a belt drive system with two 3,000 watt Hobbywing 5255. These are pretty good motors and can go up to 34 miles per hour or 55 kilometers per hour. In our tests, we managed to hit 30 miles per hour or 48 kilometers per hour before we ran out of road. But the board feels like it could really go to 55 kilometers per hour, which is crazy for a short board. To sum it up, Basecamp Ghost really is made of high quality parts and was put together really well too. The board also has an IP65 waterproof rating and has a 1-year warranty. Just going through the specs made it clear that this definitely wasn't a board that budget shoppers would reach for, as a 12S 2P battery for $1,299 is pretty steep, but people used to buy Boosted for lesser specs at a higher price, so we know there are people who want a premium experience and willing to overpay for it. Base Camp Ghost rides more like a cruiser board and less like a shortboard. The wheelbase is wider than most minis, and it reminds us of the tiny Stinger and Meepo Flow we just reviewed, just with a narrower deck and a milder concave. What Base Camp Ghost did better than those cruisers is the speed control. Whatever ESC Base Camp put into this board, it really does its job well, even better than the latest gen of Hobbywing ESC. First, you get perfect smoothness in how the speed ramps up. Second, how the speed mode was designed makes sense too. The third speed mode allows you to access the highest top speed while accelerating smoothly up to the top speed. The fourth speed mode was configured to be very intuitive too. It has a smooth and gentle initial initiation, but if you push the throttle all the way up, it gives you the extra power and the kick. And the throttle has a lot of travel and hence gives you more precise control of the acceleration. You can keep the throttle in the midpoint and it's already plenty strong, and there's a lot more room for you to push the dial all the way up, and the acceleration just ramps up precisely as strongly as you want it to. And if somehow you want the speed control to behave differently, you can always tinker with it yourself. Besides a better than most speed control, Base Camp Ghost is more powerful than most shortboards too, and we are expecting nothing less from a premium board at this price. The dual 3000 watt Hobbywing motors do not disappoint as they are very strong. For context, while the Base Camp Ghost is not as insane as some power specialists like the Tiny Mini 3 Pro, it's still amongst the stronger mini boards we tested. It can go up to 34 miles per hour or 55 kilometers per hour, and the setup is pretty stable. Although we do not have a long, straight, safe road to reach the board's limits, we can imagine riding that fast on this 31-inch board. And that brings us to this point: the Base Camp Ghost prioritizes stability over responsiveness. Not having a kicktail and maximizing wheelbase means the board is more stable than your typical mini board and rides like a 35-inch cruiser board with a kicktail. The CNC trucks are great. They are precise but also more biased towards stability than responsiveness. We think this leaning towards stability makes sense, as Ghost clearly should be ridden fast, and any board this length has no problem turning tight corners anyway. This is not a long board with a flexible deck and double kingpin trucks, so carving is obviously not this board's specialty, but it is still pretty enjoyable though. So the riding experience on the Ghost is pretty amazing. However, it does have one weakness that came with the design, which is road vibration. A carbon fiber deck combined with 90mm wheels means the board conducts bad road vibrations too well. Plus, most of the time, your foot placement would be directly on top of the trucks, so the vibration will travel straight from the wheels to the trucks to your knee. It can't be helped though. This is just part of the deal of getting a shortboard, and putting on bigger wheels would help. The Base Camp Ghost is undoubtedly a premium board, and hence, not for everyone. If you want a carbon fiber short cruiser that is light and portable, powerful and stable, with perfect speed control, then Base Camp Ghost will be what you build. It is also one of the rare non-boutique boards that are DIY friendly, as it has an ESC that allows tinkering with its parts. All in all, it is not a board that we value counting plebs at ESHQ would buy, but if we are stealing one board from an electric shortboard store, we will definitely be stealing this one. As always, be sure to use our affiliated discount code with the link below. It will help you get a small monetary discount and helps us out too. You'll also be tagged as an Electric Skateboard HQ customer and probably be treated better. Ride safe, guys.